guys, it's Keegan. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video we are going to be doing a part 2 to my sorority recruitment Q&A. I will have part 1 linked down below at the end of this video if you guys want to check it out. I'm just answering all of your questions that you guys wanted to know. Some of them are just going to be very blunt and honest. I'm just not going to sugarcoat it, and I hope that that's okay with you guys. I also have 2 giveaways going on right now. I have an Urban Outfitters gift card giveaway and then a school supplies giveaway. I will link those down below if you guys want to enter, like see any of the rules. Let's get on into the questions. Can you please talk about dues and the time commitment if you haven't touched on that already? If you guys want to know about the time commitment, I will link that video down below that I did talking about the time commitment. A lot of people said it was very helpful and insightful, so thank you. Pretty much every sorority is lowering dues this semester because of COVID, and pretty much all the events are being canceled. Dues really go into funding the events, getting like your national charter, and then like being a charter at your school, housing, things like that. I've never really talked about my dues because every single school is different and every single chapter is different, but I thought why not talk about my dues. I'll start with my new member dues actually. Like I already said, new member dues are more expensive. I think that I paid, I don't know why the number 1,500 is sticking into my head, 1,400 in new member dues. Fall semester active dues, so active dues are after you've been initiated, so like you're an actual sister. In between 900 to 1,000, it's less than 1,000 but more than 900. And then in the spring, I think I pay like 1,100 or something like that because we have promo week clothes, which basically the week before recruitment and then the first day of recruitment, they give you like clothes to wear, represent your sorority, I guess. Those are in your dues, so that's why spring semester is more expensive because you're paying for those clothes that you'll get in the fall. I think that is a ton of money. I think $900 to $1,000 is so much money a semester to be in a sorority, but I told my friends this and they were like, that is so cheap. Like I have a friend who goes to a sorority in the South and she says that she pays like $2,000 a semester. My sorority is the most expensive sorority on campus, I'm like pretty sure. So the way they like justify it, we have like a full social calendar, so I guess we have more events than some other sororities do. We also have everything included, so some sororities you'll just have the baseline dues, and then if you want to go to a sisterhood, if you want to go to a date party, if you want to do this, you have to pay extra. So pretty much I feel like every sorority evens out to the same amount. That's what they tell us when you pay, if you pay it all together, like little increments. If you guys want to see how much the dues are for all the sororities at your school, your Panhellenic website for your school should be able to tell you all of the dues that each sorority is. I really think that you should look up dues before you rush to see if you can afford them. They should have them on there. My sorority hasn't even released our dues for this semester yet because again COVID-19, so I don't even know how much I'm gonna pay. I hope not a lot. Can you get scholarship / financial aid to be in a sorority? Yes and no. I would say that it is possible, but it is so rare. There's not really a ton of sorority scholarships. I only know like 2 people that have gotten them. If you're rushing a sorority and you can't afford it and you're just planning on getting scholarships to cover your dues, that's just not gonna happen. At my school at least, there's just not enough scholarships for everyone. There's barely any to begin with, and those scholarships pretty much don't cover all your dues. I mean, at my school, scholarships just aren't gonna cover your dues. Someone asked like how people pay for them. A lot of people's parents pay for them. I personally pay for my own with my money that I made for my job. A lot of people do that as well, but I would say like a majority of people that I know, their parents pay for it. I don't know why I find this question funny. For you personally, what helps you determine whether you like a PNM? So when I was recruiting, I definitely could tell if I liked a PNM or not by like one specific thing, and that is the conversation and if they contributed to the conversation. Not that I liked them. I never once had a PNM that I was like, I hate her. Like I didn't have that. If I really was like, oh my gosh, I love this PNM, I think that she's amazing, she'd be in our house, it was because that she contributed to the conversation. Let's say I asked a really simple question and I said, what's your major? And she said psychology, and that's it. She would be really hard to talk to. Keep in mind, I know that recruitment is an interview process and like the recruiter will be asking you questions, but it's also a conversation. Strongly think if someone asks you a question, ask them that question back. If I say, what's your major? You should say, my major is psychology. Like I've always been interested in IT class in high school and I really liked it, and so I wanted to major in it. What's your major? And then I would talk about mine and we'd have this conversation going back and forth. I'm not kidding, and I hope this does not come off as mean because this is not my intention. Majority of PNMs that I talked to didn't ask me the question back, and it just didn't feel like they cared enough to be talking to me, and I know that probably was not their intention. That's just the way it came off. Even though you want the sorority to like you and talk about you and get to know you, also give something to the conversation. You can start a topic, you can ask them a question, you don't have to lead the conversation. Don't let the recruiter being the only one holding the conversation. If you contribute to your conversations, I guarantee you'll get more houses back than if you didn't. Someone said, are Big Little relationships actually as significant as social media makes them out to be? No, not at all. I would say there's some people who their bigs and littles are their best friends and there's some people that don't ever talk to their bigs and littles. By the time that you choose big little, not a ton of time has passed in the school year. So I feel like sometimes you meet someone and you're like, okay, they're gonna be my big, and then a few months later you're like, oh my gosh, I just met this older girl and I absolutely love her. I wish she was my big. It's not that big of a deal. Someone says, do you have to go to frat parties when you're in a sorority? You can. You don't have to. It's kind of up to you. I mean, there's not like a sorority event that's like, okay, everyone's going to Pi Cap today. It's not like that. Okay, so someone said in all caps, what do they want to hear? So I'm gonna tell you guys what they want to hear. My loyalty lies to you guys first, my sorority second. So like, I'm just, okay, they might get mad at me. I don't care. You want to live in. I don't care if you don't want to live in. You're gonna tell them you want to live in. You're gonna tell them that you want to run for exec and that you want a position and that you want to be a leader in this chapter. You can financially support yourself. Do not ever like allude to the fact that you can't afford it. Even if you are not sure if you can afford it, don't talk about that. If there's a girl that can pay and a girl that can't pay, they're gonna choose the girl that can pay. I would recommend kind of talking about like how it's a lifelong sisterhood and it's past 4 years and that you're gonna stay in all 4 years, that you're so excited to graduate with your sisters, blah 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 blah. If you're a legacy to another house, don't tell them that. If you have a sister in another house currently, don't tell them that. Someone said, is it like buying friends? My opinion on this has changed quite a lot. I think last year, or even like, I don't know, when I first joined my sorority, I would be like, no, it is not like buying friends. Technically we're paying for events, so technically the money's not going into buying friends. Now I kind of feel like I have like a very like indifferent view on it. Like I have my friend group I hang out with outside of sorority events, and I have like other people that I would hang out with outside of sorority events too, besides like my one group of friends. So like I have my friends that if I dropped, I would still hang out with them, and then I have girls that like I hang out with at sorority events and I see them and I say hi and we text every once in a while. But if I dropped, I would probably never talk to them again, or very rarely talk to them again. If you want to think of it as like paying for friends, those would be the ones that I'm paying for, but these ones I wouldn't. Yeah, that probably made no sense if you want to look at it that way, I guess. Someone says, does weight / size make you guys look at PNMs differently? Not at all. Literally, I genuinely never even remember what a PNM looks like because you're talking to so many. When I was recruiting, I don't even think I ever I mean, obviously I looked at them. I think I would talk to 3 or 4 girls one round, and that's hard to remember what they all look like. Your size and weight do not matter. We care about your personality. Also, on a side note, outfits. I always get so many questions about outfits. I never once remembered what someone was wearing, ever. I don't even think I ever paid attention to what someone was wearing unless I like complimented their shoes or something, that I saw something that I liked. I cannot even think of one PNM and what outfit she wore at all. Outfit, I know it seems like it's such a big deal. It's not at all. Literally, my little Nicole, who I was obsessed with during recruitment, she was the person that I was like, oh, you're amazing. I did not remember her face after I talked to her round 1. I literally had to stalk her on Instagram to remember what she looked like, because you talk to so many girls, so your appearance has nothing to do with you getting a house back or not, because odds are they're not going to remember what you look like. They're just going to remember the conversation. The way that we decide if you would be good in the house is we base it off the conversation, not your appearance. Does grades from high school play a factor in deciding which sorority picks you? Absolutely. There are certain sororities that have really high GPA requirements. There's some sororities that don't. So you could get dropped from a house before you even walk in the door because your GPA did not meet their like GPA requirement. First round, there's so many girls and it's so hard to narrow down into how many girls that you need second round, and I would say GPA is honestly the thing that does that. Okay, this is a question about me. Someone said, are you still vice president of marketing? I was vice president of PR and marketing in my sorority. I'm not anymore. Okay, I dropped my position. There's like no tea. I had like a lot of mental health stuff going on around that time, and the position was like low-key actually like making it worse. So I was like on this like downward spiral of my mental health, and it was just really unhealthy. So I dropped the position. Someone took it over. It's all good. It's been taken care of. I did feel like a horrible person for dropping the position and like putting it on someone else. I do, don't get me wrong. I still feel guilty about it to this day. I feel horrible about it, but it was the best decision that I've ever made. My mental health is just, it's good now. Like we're back to where we were. At the end of the day, a sorority's Instagram versus my mental health, like a human being's mental health versus an Instagram, you gotta choose you. And if someone thinks that the Instagram is more important than like my mental stability and mental health, bye. I feel bad for having to do it, but I don't regret it because it was so good for me. I have no idea. I guess I cleared that up. Is that good? There were so many like conspiracies from people that were not in my house that were like, she dropped her position because of this, she did this, she dropped her sorority, she did, and because of this, because of this. None of it was true. I don't know why that was a thing, you guys. This is going to be the last question. Are sororities going to cut you first round mainly from looking at your Instagram? First round, normally when you're in person, I would say no, like not at all. But first round this year, you're not going to be talking to girls in the sorority. You will be watching videos, like I already said before. I think that it's more application based. I hope. I really hope. I'm not in the recruitment team. I used to be when I was in my position, and then when I dropped it, I'm no longer. That's how I have some of these tips, because I like learned from the behind the scenes of it. tell anyone. I probably am gonna get in so much trouble for making this video, but I just don't care anymore. So I'm really hoping that it's more application based. I talked about that in my virtual recruitment video. I think if we had to like put it in an order, like your application, your 30-second video, then your social media, like that's like the order it would go in of like importance. I hope. I don't know. I would like to think that it's not that superficial and they care about your Instagram that much, because there's so many girls in my sorority that literally don't post on Instagram ever and they're still in our house. One thing though, you guys, your Instagram is not that important. I know that everyone thinks it is. It's just really not. I will have people DMing me asking me to like evaluate their Instagram, tell them if like I think it's good or not. I'm just not gonna do that because that's just mean. Your Instagrams are good as long as you don't have photos of you drinking or like your butt out, nudes on there. I think you're fine. If you ask me to evaluate your Instagram, I just won't, because I think it's fine. Don't post any inappropriate photos. You'll be good, you know? They don't care if you have an aesthetic feed or not. They genuinely don't. They just care if you're gonna be a risk and make the sorority look trashy. Like, that's just it. That is the end of this video. If you guys haven't checked out part 1, definitely make sure to go check it out. Also, don't forget to enter my giveaways. I will have, again, everything down below if you want to check it out and enter. I love you so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!